Tooltips. A lot of people don't think about them, but they're quite useful and they can be used in a lot of use cases. We found out when we created this UITooltip component. So let's start and I'm going to show you how it works. All right, so I'm going to begin with this video with showing you different flavors for actually different uses for the tooltip. And I'm going to use the examples. There are quite a lot of them. And yeah, it's going to be fun. All right, so this first, let's go in full screen. So let's focus and maximized. So this first example will show you where the tooltip will appear on the screen. So basically you can set up so that the tooltip appears somewhere on your screen. Of course, there are these 9 points, but you can also set different offsets or maybe targets and so on. So basically this is your basic tooltip. Another way of showing a tooltip is by showing it in an animated way. So basically this is the same scene. Actually, it's another scene, but it looks the same. But the tooltip is now animated. So you can see that it appears again where you want it to appear. But now you have a show and hide animation because the UI tooltip, well, it's a container. So let's continue. Next, another use case for the tooltip is to follow your pointer. So basically you're hovering your mouse or your pointer over a component, a image, a product that you want to show some information. So let's say you have a sword, you want to show some stats. Well, this is the way to do it. And you can position the tooltip relative to the pointer. So yeah, this is another thing that you should know how to do. Of course, the system does that automatically for you, so you don't have to. Let's see the same situation when the tooltip is animated. So basically you have a show and hide animation. Again, it will follow the pointer. And yeah, this is how you can follow your, the tooltip can follow your pointer. Next, let's say you want, did I load this in? Yeah. Let's say you want a tooltip to appear when your pointer hovers over an object, and that object may be or not in motion, but the tooltip should follow the object. In this case, it's set to follow the object on its top left. So basically it's anchored to the top left side of this object. And the same thing goes for these other settings. This is, by the way, this is the same tooltip. It's just shown with different settings, right? And let's see the same scene. And this time we have animation set on the tooltip. There you go. So you can see how this looks, all right? Perfect. Let's continue. Another use case, let's say you want your tooltip to follow a certain target. For example, you hover your pointer or your mouse over an item that you want to show a tooltip for, and that tooltip should be able to follow a different target. In this case, the red dot. Notice that the tooltip does not exit the screen area, even though the target exits the screen area. This is another setting for the tooltip called keep in screen. So yeah, you can keep all your tooltips in screen. Another way of showing the tooltip is by clicking on the target. So you'll notice that even though I entered the target's area, the triggers area, now I need to click and the pointer and the tooltip appears. And this is a mixed setting. Both point enter and pointer click. All right. Let's see the same example with an animated tooltip. So basically a tooltip that has an animation. As you can see, it's a bit different. okay, and it snaps right inside the screen area. Let's see what else we have here. So another way of showing the tooltip is inside a container. So basically, in the first example I've shown, actually the first two, you've seen that the tooltip appears anchored in those points, so top left, top center, top right, and so on. Well, that's inside the screen. But what if you want inside another container? Well, you can also do that. So it will also be able to work with this use case. I'm going to show you how to cover all these use cases and how to set the settings up. Okay, you can parent the tooltip in 3 different ways. So this is when you parent it to the canvas. And actually, yeah, so I'm going to show you this way, and then I'm going to show you the hierarchy, how it works. This is when you parent it to a UI tag, in this case, to this game object. And this is when you parent it to the tooltip trigger. And what do I mean by parent? Well, I mean when we spawn, let's go to normal. When we instantiate the tooltip, where does it appear more exactly? So let's enter play mode. So the first use case, this is our tooltip canvas, and it's been set to be our tooltip canvas because we use the tag. So basically just using a UI tag set to UITooltip canvas. And it sets this canvas to be the default canvas for where the tooltips are instantiated. All right. So if I use that as if I use the parent as the tooltip canvas, you see that it appears right here. Right. Now, if I use a UI tag, let me see it. Tooltip parent. Where is that? Content background. Where's my target? So I have my triggers, grid. All right. So this is a UI tag. Where is my tag? Let's see it. I have no idea what it is. Tooltip parent. There you go. So if I use a UI tag, well, this is where the tooltip will be parented under. So there you go. As you can see, in the first case, the tooltip appears under the canvas. So it appears right here. In the second case, it appears at this UI tag. So basically, we're targeting this UI tag, and this is the second use case. And now, because we're using the tooltip trigger as the parent, it will appear here. You will see later on that this allows for a great level of flexibility when designing your systems, because in some use cases, you may want to parent it under a canvas. In other cases, under your target object. It really depends on what are you trying to do. All right. Now, let me show you the tracking mode differences. Basically, you've seen that let's maximize this. You've seen that the tooltip has a few settings. So basically, when it's disabled, it will appear wherever you set it to appear. In this case, in the top right corner of our canvas. Another tracking mode is to follow the pointer, right? So right now, this trigger sets this is the same tooltip, by the way. So this is the same thing. So now it follows the pointer. Now it will follow the trigger. All right. And now it will follow the target, and it will respect, actually in every cases, if keeping screen is enabled, it will not allow you to take the tooltip out of view out of the screen. All right, let's see one more. So now we'll see a tooltip with a message. So basically, we're gonna see the same tooltip with one message and another message, with no tracking. So it's anchored to where we set the position. Another way to do it is to follow your pointer, right? Same tooltip. Another one is to follow the trigger. Basically, all right. And now it will follow a target. And you can define your target simply by using tags. And that's it. All right. Now let's go into the fun part. Let's say you want to create a shop, right? And you do not want to include in your items, you do not want to include the buy button or maybe other information. Well, you can make a tooltip appear like this. For example, I can click on my item and this can be my buy button, for example, or show something else. All right. So basically, you can use a tooltip like a, I want to say a small pop-up, but this isn't a pop-up, right? So yeah, this is another use case. And I'm going to show you the same use case, but this time with two buttons. So basically you can say option 1, buy, option 2, cancel, or maybe I think even escape should work. Yeah, it's enabled. And of course, there you go, buy lives or cancel. Let's say you want to, yeah. Oh, you can also show several tooltips at once. This isn't one issue. So you can also do that. But yeah, it's up to you how you choose to hide them. All right. So you've seen the tooltips. Let's start creating some, right? So I'm gonna create a new scene. Create. Let's clear this. And let me set this to video. All right. Come on. Stay here. Perfect. Okay, so now we have our main camera. Let's create a canvas, UI, canvas, and I'm going to use screen space camera. By the way, a limitation for the tooltip system is that it needs you shouldn't show the tooltip on an overlay canvas if your UI is set to render mode screen space and vice versa. So the canvas that you're showing tooltips on should have the same render mode as your target. Just bear in mind. All right, let's say a canvas scaler, 0.5, and event system. All right, I need a background because why not? All right. I'm not gonna kill you with this. So 16. Perfect. All right, so let's create our tooltip. In order to be able to use a tooltip, we need to create a tooltip trigger, right? So I'm gonna create one. Let's set an image. This will be my trigger A, for example. And let's also add a text mesh pro and say A. Let's center this. And let's add a content size filter. Actually, let me set the color 20. And a content size filter with preferred and preferred, just so this looks nice. This will be a label. I'm gonna remove, actually I'm gonna leave it like that. All right, so this is my trigger, right? And in order to show a tooltip, I need to use a tooltip trigger. So I'm going to search for UI, tooltip trigger. There you go. And now I need to select which tooltip I want to show. Of course, these are the ones from the examples. I do not want to use them. And I want to create my own tooltip. In order to create a tooltip, in order to use a tooltip, I need to add it to my database. I'm going to open the database here. And these are the tooltips that currently exist in my database. Another way to open the database is from the dashboard. Tools, Doozy, dashboard. Come on, load. All right. And here we have tooltips. Basically, it's the same database that I've opened here. All right, by the way, I'm using Doozy UI Manager 4.3.1, just so you know. All right, perfect. So how do I create a tooltip? And let's create an empty game object. And this will be my a tooltip, right? Let's say my tooltip. Let's call it like that, right? Let's hide our trigger so it doesn't stay in the way. And I'm going to say add component. And I'm going to say a vertical layout group. This way, why am I using a layout group? Well, I want the contents of the tooltip, the text, to make it bigger or smaller, and this is the way to do it. Actually, I'm going to add first a tooltip script, so UITooltip. All right, so this is my tooltip. Let's bring it on top. And now I need to add its contents, right? So what did I say? I want a vertical layout group. And let's just make it like so. And what else do I want? I want a content size filter, so it resizes and preferred size. Because I added content size filter and the contents of this parent of this tooltip is 0, it has nothing. The width and the height is 0. You will see that it grows once we add some text. So for the first thing, I'm gonna add a text mesh flow. This will be my, I'm gonna say label, right? And I want to add a content size filter with a preferred size and a preferred size, right? And this will be my tooltip. Let's have a message. Of course, I would like to use something like that. And now I'd like to add a background. You always need to add a background because when you are showing a tooltip, you're showing it over other things. So you usually want to have a background to this is a visual aid, a protection for your text or whatever you're adding in your tooltip. So I'm gonna add an image and this will be my background. And I cannot see it. Well, I cannot see it because my vertical layout group is controlling it, and I do not want to. I do not want my layout group to control my background. I want my background to resize depending on whatever text I have inside of it. So I'm gonna add a layout element. I'm gonna say ignore layout. And then I'm going to change the anchors to be as big as my tooltip. All right, let's say 0. It should be everything set to 0. Perfect. Now, this doesn't look well because you need to add some padding, and I'm adding it directly to the vertical layout group. So I'll say 16, 16, 8, 8. All right, so this is my tooltip. So whatever I write here, this will resize. Tooltip, right? Let's also make this rounded. So I'm gonna say circle 32. Yeah, much better. All right. So in order to be able to change this text when I'm instantiating this tooltip, I need to reference it. So let's start working with our tooltip. So here in the references tab, I have only one label for now. So I'm gonna drag and drop this here. And please pay attention at the name of this game object. It's label, right? So this is gonna appear in your, whatever you add here in the labels, images, and buttons, it will appear dynamically in the UITooltip trigger, right? Whew. So I have my references, I have my settings. So now all I have to do is to create a prefab and add it to my database. Let's go in demo here. And now this tooltip is done. I'm gonna put it in my database. In my, I'm gonna make it, I'm talking stupid now. I created a prefab, and in order to add it to my database, I need to create a UITooltip link. This connects your prefab to the database. You need to do this to have a modular design. So basically, if you have different projects, you can just add your prefab and link and inject them in your database. So create Doozy links UITooltip link. Can you see that? Yes, you can. Perfect. And now, to make this link functional, I'm going to drag and drop my tooltip here. Validate. And let's go in my database. And there you go. My tooltip is now here. And if I hover my mouse, I can see where it is. And if I click it, it will also find it. And of course, I can delete both the tooltip and the link. Don't do that. All right. So now I need to select this here. So my tooltip. And right away, I have this label. Remember, I told you to pay close attention to the game object name. If we change the game object name, let's come here and say, let's rename this to message and go back to our trigger. Now you will see that we can see here message. So basically, we know where we're adding our text to. Now say hello world. Right? And let's also make this trigger. Let's give it a color. Something like that. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's hello world. On pointer enter, pointer exit. I'm not gonna show anything else right now. And let's clear this. Let's enter play mode. And right now, when I'm gonna show this, there you go, hello world. Now, we have a small issue. You cannot see it right now, but I'm telling you it's there. My canvas is set to a different render mode than the tooltips canvas. Let me show you. So, by default, the system creates a canvas and sets it to screen space overlay. But my canvas is screen space camera, and I also have a scale with screen size. I have a canvas scaler. So this is a bad setup. You can fix it in two ways. Notice that the tooltips canvas has this UI tag, right? So one way to do it is to add here a UI tag. Basically, I'm marking this canvas as my tooltips canvas. And don't worry about sorting. The tooltips is automatically sorted to the highest possible level. So I'll say UI tooltip canvas. So basically, this is my tooltips canvas. I'm going to enter play mode. And now check it out. The tooltip is bigger because it now respects our, let's also enter pointer click. Now it respects our scaling. So if I change the scaling for my UI, the tooltip will change as well, right? Another way of doing this, you can create your own default or your own tooltips canvas. And it's very easy to do. You simply create another canvas. And this will be my tooltips canvas. Like I said, there's one limitation for the system. You need to use the same render mode. So basically this is set to overlay. Well, either you set your UI to overlay or you set this tooltips canvas to screen space camera. So this is set to screen space camera. I'm going to say here, screen space camera, and bring my camera here, right? And now there's one more thing. The problem with the canvas scaler, and I'm going to create that problem right now. I'm going to move this tag here, and now all the tooltips will be spawned under this canvas. But because I didn't set up the canvas, the canvas scaler, right? I have different dimensions, different resolutions, and this will mess up your entire UI. So let me show you what happens. As you can see, it's very small. Let me actually put the tooltip on top right, for example. Position mode, top right. All right. And let's make it appear on pointer click, right? Perfect. So right now the tooltip is right here, right? So if I change the resolution, notice that only my UI changes while the tooltip stays the same. And again, for this, if I change this, I can have some huge tooltips, and yeah, this would be very bad. To fix this, you need to use the same settings in your canvas scaler. In your so you copy the settings from your UI's canvas scaler to your tooltip canvas. I wouldn't do that because, well, you are creating fragmentation and you need to remember that you need to copy this. But I'm showing you how it works. So copy component, and here I'm going to say paste component values, and now, sure, it will appear appropriately. All right. What I recommend is just use the same canvas just by setting this UI tag, and you're done. If you're using the parent mode set to tooltips canvas. If you use tooltip trigger, well, it really doesn't matter. All right, so that's how you show a tooltip. Let's set it to pointer, enter, exit. All right, so now let's focus on our trigger, right? You usually want to set up a show delay. For example, if you have a menu and the user moves, let me actually duplicate this. Let's create a few more triggers, right? So I'm going to create a horizontal layout, right? And say horizontal layout group. Let's add some spacing, 32. I'm just setting this up. Content size fitter, preferred size. All right. And let's say a layout element. And let's make this 128 and 128 with 0, 0. This is basic layouting. And now let's put this here. And now we have A, B, and C. All right. Trigger A, trigger B, and now finally trigger C. All right. And let's just rename them. And also change the color a bit. Okay, and now I want a yellow one, something like that. All right. And let's also change the tooltips. So this is A. This is B. And finally, this is C. Right? And let's enter play mode and check it out. This is your tooltip, right? Now, usually when the user moves the mouse, you do not want to show the tooltip instantly. So you may want to add a show delay. So what we will be doing, we will select all of these and say 0.5, for example. So half a second, wait until you show the tooltip. So this way, if I move my mouse like so, it doesn't happen anything. But if I keep it a bit, it appears. Right? So this is your basic tooltip functionality. All right. Now, your tooltip can have different parenting modes. In this case, it uses the tooltips canvas, right? The tooltips canvas is the canvas that has this tag, UITooltip canvas, and you can put it anywhere. You can also put it inside a rect transform somewhere in your UI if you want to do that. And yeah, but yeah. Another way, it can parent itself. So basically it will appear under the tooltip trigger. Now, if you do that, it will, the position mode will be right here. So inside each tooltip. Can you see that? Yeah. So I'm going to say tooltip trigger. Let's enter play mode and check it out. Right? It's really not that nice. Let's also, I think I want to make the tooltip a bit smaller because it's really, really big. So let's change the font to 24. All right. Let's also change this to, let's add a transparency. Let's say 204, something like that. All right. That's a bit better. Okay. And another option is to set it to appear, to be parented under a UI tag. So what I mean by that, well, let's say, let's create an image. I'm creating an image just so I can show you the area. And let's say this image is something like that. Let's make it a bit wider, right? And let's make it red with a transparency, right? And let's say UI tag, and I'm gonna say demo target, right? So if we set this tooltip to be parented under UI tag and we specify the UI tag demo target, now the tooltip will appear in the position mode top right. So right here. I'm working on a prefab. That's why this changes instantly, right? So now, of course, if I change the tooltip to middle center, what if I move my target? Well, if we move our target, let's say over here, the tooltips will appear there. And you can see that it appears right under it. So yeah, right here. All right. Let's also set these to work with pointer click. There you go. So I'm going to click this and there you go. And this is C, all right? So these are the parenting modes and how we can set them. Now, why did I create A, B, C? Well, you can override them because right now I just made these changes in the prefab. But what if in some use cases you might want to do something else? For example, for A, I want to override to tooltips canvas. For B, I want to override the parent mode to tooltip trigger, and for C, I'm going to leave the default target. So this means that A will spawn here, B will spawn here, there you go, and C will spawn here. So A, B, actually I need to change the position so you can see it better, otherwise you won't understand. All right, so A will spawn here, B will spawn here, and C will spawn here. So A top, what does I see? Top left, top right. Come on. So top right corner, and top right corner. All right. So you can also override these things. Perfect. Now let's kill this and let's go to something else. Let's use the tooltips canvas as our parent mode. Let's remove the override from here and from here. And let's focus on tracking now. So this is another thing. Now, if you've seen the tracking is disabled. If I say follow pointer, actually let me remove the delay. So show delay 0. Let's enter play mode. So right now it will follow the trigger on the top right side. So basically it's your pointer. It will follow the pointer. Jesus. So it will be top right, right? So let's come here, top right. Let's say bottom left, right? And you also have a position offset. So let's say minus 20, right? So, and let's say again, minus 20. And you can see it's a bit further away. Let's say top center. Now it will be right there. And let's go a bit higher. Let's say 60 and check it out. So, yeah. All right. Another option is to follow your trigger. Now, if you remember, when we say parent to tooltip trigger, it appears like that. But if I say follow your trigger, it will be on the outside. And there's a big difference. So right now, even though the tooltip will appear under each trigger because of the parenting mode, check it out here, right? So just bear with me. It's on the outside. If I were to disable this, it would be on the inside. Now, what if those triggers are animated? So let's make B move up and down. Let's add a simple UI animation, UI animator, Jesus. And let's reset it. And let's make it move in a loop. You don't have to say this, but yeah. So minus 32 to 32 in 4 seconds, infinite loops, ping pong, and should start on enable. On enable, play forward. Perfect. Whew. So now this trigger is moving. So this is A, this is B, and this is C. And now if I set my tooltip to follow the trigger A, B, C. And what do I mean by that? Let me just set these to on pointer click. I want to show you something that happens. So pointer click, right? And I'm gonna default this to tooltips canvas. Check it out. So if I'm showing A, it doesn't move. But if I'm showing B, I'm gonna show it right now, it follows the B trigger, right? I can also set an offset and it will work, of course. And this. And of course I can also change, by the way, I'm doing this live, right? So let me hide the tooltip for A. So I can also do this, these changes right as it works. So at runtime, you can change the position mode if you want to, and it will adapt, as you can see. Right. What else do I want to show you? Well, you can also follow the pointer. So it's right here. And oh, I forgot to show you the keeping screen. So another option for the tooltip is keeping screen. You'll notice that if I move my mouse like so, it doesn't exit the screen area, right? But if I say don't keep in screen, well, now it will go insane. It can get out of the screen. There you go. So that's just a setting for the UI tooltip. All right, you can hide the tooltip by clicking any button inside of it or via the back button. What does this mean? Well, if you're showing several tooltips, you can press escape and they will all disappear. You also have some static methods to show all the tooltips in your scene and hide them all. So yeah, this can be useful at times. All right, so let's create a tooltip that has a title, has a text, and has a buy button. All right, so let's do that. I'm gonna use the same tooltip and just add some functionalities to it. Let's hide the triggers. All right. Oh, I didn't add any animation to this, right? Let's add some animation first. How do I do that? Well, that's again very easy. Like I said before, this is a UI container. That means that all the components that take a UI container as a controller, so basically animators, sounds, and so on, can use will work with a UI tooltip. So I'm going to say UI container, and all of these work with this. So I'm going to say UI container, UI animator, and now I've just added show and hide options, and I can leave it like that. So let's just say apply. I'm applying the settings to the prefab. And now let's enable this. Let's enter play mode and check it out. Notice that this will follow your, let's say, follow pointer. Check it out. All right. And we can also change the animation. So this is how fast you can animate this thing. It's crazy. If you say tooltips canvas and disabled, this is again interesting, it will appear wherever you put it to appear. All right. Let's make this on pointer enter for this example, because this is how most tooltips work. So there you go. You can also play with this. It's very fun. Let's say top left, right? What if I want to appear from the left and disappear to the left again? Well, I can simply change the hide animation, and yeah, that's it. So you can also do this thing. Very nice, actually. Let's go to middle right. So it goes all the way and comes back. So check it out. Right, let's go bottom right, bottom center. You get the idea, right? And I can also say tooltip trigger. Now, if I want to do this, I can also add some masks to my triggers. So I'm gonna do that. Add component mask to D, and check it out. Where did I add that? Rec mask to D, right? Did I add it to the right thing? So you can also make them not be visible when they appear. All right, let's continue and add some, let's add a functional button to my tooltip. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's hide these, and yeah, let's go like this. All right, so this is my tooltip. Now I would like to have a title, a message, and let's also add an image. Yeah, that would be nice. And a button. Okay. So how would I go around doing that? Well, I'm gonna rename this to title. So this will be my tooltip title. And of course, it also renamed here. Yeah. Let's create a message. Actually, let's add a image. Yeah. We may be showing something up. So let's say layout element, and how big do I want my image to be? 0, 0. Let's say 128 by 128. Right? And this will be my message. And let's set this up to be unconstrained. Let's center it. Let's make it smaller, 20, maybe 16, something like that. And now let's come here. I'm just setting up these things. There you go. Tooltip image. And this should also have unconstrained. Now, I have a problem here. And the problem is that they're all stuck together. So I need to add some spacing. And I can do that right from here, from my top vertical group. I just add some spacing like this. Let's say 8. And now I'd like to add a buy button, or maybe a button. It really doesn't matter. I'm gonna use a flex button right away. Flex button. All right. This is a bit too much. I really do not want an icon for my button. I would like the label to be 16. All right. Bold. Maybe not bold. Maybe like that. I'll say button. And I'm going to rename this to button label. I'm going to name this to button. And I have my image, I have a message, my image, and my title. The game objects names are important because they will appear in your tooltip trigger as fields. So yeah, All right, so I have tooltip, let's say this title. And here I'm going to say message. And yeah, this is fine. I want to add a bit more space here. So I'm going to add an empty game object. This is a trick. And I'm going to say space. Let me see how this looks. Yeah, it's a bit better. It's not perfect, but it's better. All right. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I need to connect my references. So I have my title. I would like to set my message. I would like to set my button label, so I know what I want to write on the button. I want to set my image. And of course, I need a button to set an event to, right? And yeah, that's pretty much it. I also want to change the animation a bit. So the animation, it appears from the left and hides there. Let's go from the top. Out expo. I want it to appear very fast. And I want it to scale. So scale from custom value 0, 0 in and out back. So show. Yeah, I like this. And I want it to disappear again by going top in an in expo. Hide. Perfect. And I also want it to scale out. Custom value to 0, 0 in an in back. So I want it to grow a bit. Hide. Yeah. Let's make the disappearance a bit faster. Yeah, perfect. All right, so now I need to apply all of these changes to my tooltip, delete it, and come back to my triggers. And you will notice that now we have some new fields. Check it out. We have, this is a message. This, some information, some info about a button by. Let's also add an image. Yeah, I like this one. And on click, I think I need a debug log so I can show you it works. Let's create a simple script. Tester. All right. All right. Not now. Thank you very much. All right. So in this class, I'm going to add a simple debug. And let me just zoom in for you guys. 16. Perfect. Public void debug string message. And I'm going to say debug log. Perfect. Come on, GitHub. Don't let me write this. Debug dot log debug message. Yeah, perfect. All right, so now I have this. Let's also add a namespace, demo namespace. Perfect. All right, so let's wait for this to compile because I want to show you that that the button is properly connected. Right? Was this? Yeah, really doesn't matter. Trigger A, and I'm gonna add. Where should I put my? Yeah, I'm gonna put it here. Tester and trigger A. So this is A. We have our image. By the way, you also have a zoom so you can see what image you've referenced. And here I'm going to say runtime, drag and drop this because I want to print my debug message and by A, right? Perfect. So I'm going to copy this component. I'm going to come here. I'm going to paste component value. This is B. Some info about B. Let's change this to red, and I'll say by B. And for C, because I do not want to write again and again. How you would do this, you would use some scriptable objects or a database and just populate the values dynamically. I'm just doing it this way. Let's select a different image. So we have one more crazy image. Yeah, this one. And by C, right? And now you have your tooltip with all the bells and whistles. Let's enter play mode and let's check it out. And of course you can buy it. And this is how it works. Yeah. Where is this position? Let's position it in our tooltips canvas in bottom left with a 20 and 20 offset. So it's right over here. Yeah. And buy. Yeah, there you go. I didn't show you the messages. So A, by B, and finally by C, right? All right. What else there is to show? Yeah, you can use the escape key. This option, hide at any button, means that if you have a button referenced, in this case, this button, it will also hide the tooltip. If you do not enable this, now I'm going to click the button and the tooltip will not disappear. Of course, it will fire your events, but you need to press escape for it to disappear, or just do it like that. So again, the back button, if I click it and now I press escape, it doesn't disappear. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the UI tooltip. Oh, one more thing, the maximum width. Let's say you have a huge description for your tooltip. Yeah, let me show you this. This is another very important stuff that you should know. Let's say here, some info about A. Let me get some lorem ipsum text. 1 second, please. Lorem ipsum. This is some filler text. So where do I get lorem ipsum? Yeah, give me this. So let's say you have a lot of text that is your. By the way, you can also work like that. Yeah. So what if you have a lot of text for your tooltip? Yeah. So you have something like that. This is quite a lot of text, just so you know. Let's enter play mode. We will have an issue, and check it out. This is the issue. The text is it's too much text, right? So what you can do is set the maximum value for your tooltip. You can say here, let's say 200, right? So now your tooltip is like that. Of course, this is too much text, so it will look like, oh, I'm not going to say it. Let's go with 300. There you go. This is a bit better. And I think I also want to set the image not to change its size. So let's also come here, image, and let's set an image for now, just so I can say preserve aspect, right? Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. So let's enter play mode and check it out. So now you have a lot of text and you have a limit. Now you can also say, well, what if I want the limit only for this particular trigger? So I want to remove this maximum limit. So now it looks like, well, you know the word. So what I can do is do an override and say override maximum width to 300. And now this will appear to 50. There you go. 400. If you do not set it up in your tooltip. And of course, buy. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for the UI tooltip. It's not very hard to use, although it has a lot of steps, but to make a dynamic system like this one, well, this is what you have to do. Let me add one more button so you can see how it's done. It's really not complicated. So I'm gonna add it again. I'm gonna use a layout system because why not? So I'm gonna create another game object and here I'm gonna say buttons. I'm gonna say a horizontal layout group. Let's 32 spacing, a content size filter set to preferred. You can just copy the settings, but once you understand how they work, it's really a piece of cake. And this will be my left button. Let's add it here. Oh, I need to open the prefab. Oh, come on. Yeah, sorry about that. So let's create an empty game object, buttons. This will be my container. Horizontal layout group. Let's set the settings, spacing 32. Again, a content size filter. This is all real time, so left. So this is how long it takes if you know what you're doing. And let's also create a right button. And now we need to set proper names. And I'll say left button label and right button label. And here I'll say L button and R button. And I'm doing it like this because if you remember, we have some references here. So I have the left button label. I also want to change the right button label. Now the image is the same. Of course, you can add icons to your buttons and add them here. And I also need the right button right here. So this is my my setup for this prefab. And right away, I can see the changes here. So I'll say buy and cancel, right? And I'll say cancel A, right? Let's go to B. And I'll say cancel. I'll say party time, right? And I'll say party with B, right? And the third one, I'm gonna say buy. Let's say okay, no, thank you. And let's answer you're welcome, right? So let's go like that. What's with these serialized properties? All right, let's enter play mode and let's check it out. So A, oh, I forgot to add a limit for this. So trigger A, I did it in play mode, so it didn't stick. 350. All right, that's it. So A, buy, and check out here, buy A, cancel A, buy B, party time, party with B, and okay, and no thank you. All right. And that's pretty much it for the UI tooltip. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and that it gave you some insight of how to create tooltips and have all the animations and bells and whistles. I know it's not an easy component to use. You can even create menus and a tooltip that shows another tooltip and so on. So you can go a bit crazy with dynamics. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much if you stayed this long. I know a lot of people do not watch the entire video. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one.